Before we get into today's video, I want to thank our patrons on Patreon. Thank you to Linda and Sophia. If you would like to be a patron on Patreon as well, you can hit up the link down below. The money goes towards the Christo-Pagan church that we are starting here on YouTube. If you would like to support this channel in other ways, you can do so by hitting up the eBay link down below. That is my business. It keeps the lights on, keeps the channel up and running, keeps food in my stomach and all that good stuff. If you do not have the funds to support this channel, but you would like to do so, you can hit up the subscribe button right down there. You can hit up the bell notification also right there. You can hit that like or dislike button. It all appeases the algorithmic gods of YouTube. All hail the algorithmic gods of YouTube. And if you've done all that, and if it is safe for you to do so, you can consider sharing this on your social media platforms. Now, to today's video. Hello, girls, guys, or otherwise. This is Rich with your Witchy Book Club series. We are talking about the Temple of Shamanic Witchcraft by Christopher Penczak. If you would like a copy of your own, and you don't have, say, a witchy store or a local bookstore, there is a link provided down below that is an Amazon link. I do suggest going to local small businesses and utilizing those resources before going on Amazon. But I am, for one, how y'all doing? I am doing this video. This is the last video that I'm doing before packing up my computer to go back to New Jersey. So yay. We are a little bit ahead of the schedule on some videos, that not as far as I wanted to be, but pretty darn progressed. So I'm good with that. And I didn't get near as much recorded down here as I wanted to, but COVID kind of knocked that in the teeth. Anyway, sit back, relax. We're going to be going over Chapter 6, Lesson 2, The World Aside. And we're going to do that while I'm waiting for my laundry downstairs to finish up in the washer. And then I can edit all of these videos and pre-post them and have them all ready to go. So I get a little bit of a break, so I can actually focus on some of the church stuff instead. Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and get on into this. I don't have a terrible amount of notes on this, but yeah, I'm gonna share with you what I got. In our grandest of traditions, the first sentence, first couple of sentences, maybe first paragraph, we're going to go over that to see how it overall reflects, see if we agree or disagree on it. And you know what? It's okay to disagree. He writes, in the three worlds of the shaman, new explorers usually forget to venture into the pathways of the middle realm. Potential walkers between worlds are so fascinated with the lower and upper worlds because of their primordial power that they forget that the sideways paths of the middle world lie all around them. I think I agree with this. I think the reason that we are so fascinated by the lower and upper worlds is because of the familiarity that we have with the middle realm that we are currently in. And I forgot to mention the page number of that. If you're flipping through your books, it's page 123. And I think that can be said for a lot of things, a lot of situations where we will be in a situation, or maybe we have this fantastic job, but we don't see it as fantastic because we're there every day. It's just another day in the life, and we don't see the spectacularness of the job that we are performing, or the life that we live. We don't see it as that spectacular, that important. However, if you ask somebody else outside of that, they will probably say yes, no. They will say, no, this is an important position that you are in, all that good stuff. And I can see, if you can see back there, my phone is charging, And yeah, apparently I got a notification back there. But anyway, that was just kind of cool. Let's see. The next one that I have notes on is page 128. But while you get there, I do want to say, with regards to those things that we are familiar with, one of the things that we can do in our day-to-day life is kind of, you know, ground ourselves and look at our life through another person's eyes. Start appreciating what we have, or the world around us, or the experiences that we are having. Um, there are so many people that, like, just from my experience of being deployed and whatnot, you know, I looked at it as an incredible adventure at the time, especially. Um, well, my first deployment, my second deployment, not so much. The second deployment was to Qatar. The first one was to Iraq. And I absolutely loved that area. I thought it was rich in history. I still think it's rich in history. I think it's absolutely beautiful in its environmental appearance. Some of the best sunrises and sunsets I've ever seen. Their architecture is actually is absolutely beautiful, and yeah, I think that whenever you're there for too long, you end up taking some of that for granted. But whenever you realize that there are people that will go their entire lives and never see the sights that I have seen, and that is actually quite fascinating and beautiful, and I appreciate that. And I think we tend to do the same thing with the middle realm of the world tree system, that we don't explore where we are. We don't go down those paths. So, yeah, I can agree with them. Moving on to page 128. This is something that I had a little laugh about. He writes, not only do all natural objects and phenomena have a spirit associated with them, but all handcrafted and handmade materials also have an energetic spirit. And I laughed because this is something I did as a child. Like, I would bump into a table and then I'd be like, sorry, table, I didn't mean it. That type of thing. Like, I would be apologetic towards an inanimate object. And as I grew up, I slowly stopped doing that. I still do that from time to time. Um, but there are times that I still do that, and there are times whenever I completely disregard all that. Um, you know, whenever you're working in a antiques and collectibles business, yeah, you want to be appreciative of some of the items that are coming across your way. But whenever this is your 500th piece of Lennox that you've come across, it loses its luster, and you really don't want to see it anymore. But still appreciating it, and um, thanking the items for the job that they are there to do. It's like the Marie Kondo method and whatnot. If you are part of the Komari method of individuals out there, thanking those items and whatnot is an important part of that method. And I always thought that it was a weird thing that I did as a child. Do excuse me just for a second. Okay, I'm back. My alarm was going off on my watch because the laundry is done in the washer. So I'm going to go through this, the rest of this chapter, and then go put my laundry in the dryer so I have clean clothes. Anyway, um, I kind of lost my train of thought with that, but yeah, treating items with as if they have an energetic spirit. I can agree with this, and it is something that made me laugh because it's something I did as a child. I I don't know if I agree that everything has the same um, the same level of autonomy, though. Um, for instance, I can agree that, to a certain extent, we should not kill bugs because bugs are living things. However, at the end of the day, if this can has a spirit, this is Mellow Yellow, not sponsored. Um, I went old school. They call me Mellow Yellow. But if this can has a spirit essence about it, what does that mean whenever I am finished with it? Is the spiritual essence no longer there? These are questions that I have whenever it comes to personifying inanimate objects. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I just want to know that whenever I crush this can at the end of the day, or take it to a recycling heap and they recycle it and crush it up and melt it down, what happens to that spirit? I don't mean to be frivolous with this. I legit one would like to know. I want to know, when does the spirit leave the object? Does it leave the object? These are simple questions that I would like to have answered, and I don't think I've seen any answers out there on that. So yeah, I would venture to ask this question and ask to have it answered on in uh, in a way that is satisfying. Anyway, I think I'm getting tongue tied over this. Let's move on to page 136, and for some reason my watch is going off again. Hold on. Okay, that should be the last time, I swear. Anyway, moving on to page 136. When you find or receive power tools for your shamanic work, many traditions have certain beliefs and regulations about them. Some believe they must be found or received as a gift. And the reason I pointed this out was because we have similar type of, belief systems, traditions within the broader terms of witchcraft, such as you can't go out and buy your first tarot deck. You have to be gifted that, and you have to have it wrapped in a black silk cloth and blah blah blah. All of which is BS, absolute bullcrap. Do not pay any mind whatsoever. If you find a deck that you absolutely love and it is the first deck that you're going to own, go out and buy it. Don't rely on somebody else to buy you a deck. It may never happen, and you will end up stunting your capability of being a reader, sitting around waiting for something to happen that might not happen. Anyway, I think some of these traditions just need to go away. Some of these, I mean, you can call them superstitions. Some of them just need to go away because they're actually more harmful to people who are new and coming into their practice than they are good for them. Maybe at one time, if you were in a coven type of setting, that would be beneficial, that you learned what the tools were as you were going along and you were gifted these tools, something of that nature where you had a teacher. However, there are so many people now that are teaching themselves or learning the craft, in their own way, via reading a book, that type of thing. You have so many people that this is their modality of learning, and you cannot say to them that, oh no, you can't go out and buy your broom, or no, let's say your wand. You can't go out and buy your wand. You have to be gifted that. Excuse me? No. If you want to go out and buy a wand and you found one that you absolutely like and you feel connection to, you go out and buy it, damn it. Yeah, there has to be a certain point where we say, screw the rules, we're doing our own thing. With that, we're going to move on to page 138. And this is about building your own witch bag. I'm not really going to go through all of the stuff on here. It's exercise 8. on page 138. And I have been thinking about this type of bag even before I thought to read this. So I'm going to, oh, and it's currently filled right now. And I'm not going to show you all of what's inside this. But this would be basically my witch bag. And it is a large briefcase. And here you have where you can put what you call it, pens and pencils and whatnot in there. Back here you can put any files that you need to carry, and inside you can put basically an entire traveling altar. Inside here right now I have several books. I have folders that have to deal with doing videos and whatnot. Let's see, I have extra notebooks. I have tarot cards. I have the stones for the Witchy Wednesdays. I have the tabletop cube. All that stuff is contained within this beefy sucker. So yeah, it is a big honking thing. Now, would this be something that I would like carry out to the forest with me and whatnot? Probably not. I would probably go smaller. I still would want to do something similar to this, where it is, where it's kind of like more of a hard shell, or kind of has more of a shape to it than I would with. I don't think I've ever shown this before. Than I would with this. This is actually what I take to and from work every day. And maybe I have to do a like what's in your bag thing. Like I have my pills in there, some pain pills. I have extra masks. I have 2 notebooks. I have let's see. I have a concordance. I have my Bible. I have folders having to do with stuff for YouTube and whatnot. And in the little pocket on the inside, I have rosaries. You know, I have all kinds of stuff in here. And it even has side pockets. I could probably utilize, sorry, I don't know how well the volume's coming through. I could probably utilize something of this nature as a witch bag. The only thing is, as you can see, it doesn't hold its shape all that well. You have to have something solid in there, such as a folder, to keep it really from like jumbling around and whatnot. So I could probably use something like this. I have another one at home that has a zipper that I could probably utilize. I would have to think about it. I've also thought about using my older uniforms. I got some stuff on me from picking that up and putting it on my shoulder. I have some of my older uniforms that I was thinking of making into a bag, and I can always go that route as well. But this is something I thought was interesting that I saw it on there, because utilizing that as like a travel bag or a travel altar of sorts, and using the big one, you know, whenever you need the big guns, but utilizing the smaller bag as like a quick go bag, you know, throw in an altar cloth, throw in some you know, throw in a deck of tarot, and let's go. Maybe a candle or 2, pack of matches, you're good. You know, something of that nature, I think would be beneficial to have, you know, at a moment's notice. Hey, a friend of mine wants me to go over, you know, I have one friend in, oh, now she lives in Pennsylvania. She just moved into Philly from New Jersey. But she used to live in New Jersey, but she's been asking me to do a tarot reading for her. And I told her, I said, you're going to have to clear like 2 hours for this. It's going to be a long session. But if I were to do something of that nature, you know, that would be the type of bag that I would want to take, is something smaller. If I were doing something where I'm going away for a little bit longer, the big black box-like one would probably be something that I would utilize for that purpose, for traveling for an extended period of time, or, you know, even a few days. I need like a small library with me. Moving on to page, and if you have one, let me know. And if you have like a Witchy Go box, you know, I know Lady Gravedancer has one in her back, in the back of her car, and it has like all kinds of things to like, uh, get graveyard dirt, stuff like that. And I think that's a very good idea. And if you have something like that, let me know in the comments down below. Moving on to page 141, he writes, refined and dense energies are not good or bad, nor good and evil or evil in any way. Okay, so I think this is important to denote, because just because something is a little dense, a little heavier, does not mean that it is negative in any way. Doesn't mean it's going to harm you in any way. Um, so yeah, sometimes energy is just energy. It's not malicious. It has no malicious intent. It's just a little heavy. And I think that's important to note and distinguish whenever you have those energies. Moving on to page 144. He writes, the solar plexus is one of the places we naturally shield when we are in the presence of someone or something that bothers us. And I have a note of the gut feeling. This is something that I get quite often. That is where my intuition kind of like hits. Like, I will feel everything in my stomach, and I really like the what you call it, the modality that he gives here, the suggestion for the exercise that he gives here about taking that energy and taking it in and processing it and releasing it. I think that is a good method to try, and I am going to try that more often. Because I just get so much solar plexus feeling, and that is where the gut feeling term comes from. And my last note is on page 148 in the tips section, where he says, don't worry about finding the perfect shamanic tool right away. Like your quest for traditional altar tools, put your intention for what you need and want, seek them out, but be patient and open to guidance. And I just wanted to reiterate that, even though we did say the same thing with altar tools. You don't have to buy everything out all at once. You're not going to use it all. For most of us, we're not going to use all of those tools. Some of us will rely heavily on a wand. Some of us will rely heavily on a blade. Some will never touch a blade and never have the need to or the want to. Some will never touch a patent, that type of thing, just because it's not something that calls to them. It's not a tool that they really feel called to use. So yeah, I would take the advice there with what Christopher Penzak says here about put out your intention if you were looking for a tool to utilize or to work with, and don't go out and buy them all at once. Give it a little time. Things will, eventually you'll collect all the ones that you either need or want. And yeah, just take it a little bit slower. I think, especially for my early practice, I went out and I bought like everything, and that was a bad idea, and I shouldn't have done that. I spent, I would venture to say, thousands of dollars easily on items that I don't always use a wand. And while I love my clay wand, my clay chakra wand, I don't always use it. My cauldrons, well, I do utilize my cauldrons, most of them. Let's see, my athame, I don't always use that. My chalice, the one that I got at a Ren fair several years later after I started my practice. I didn't go out and buy a regular chalice. The paintings I kind of still use. I use them more for fire protection than anything. But yeah, you don't always use everything that you buy for the purpose intended, or use them at all, ever. So, yeah, I would definitely suggest that and reiterate that. But I have to go and put my clothes in the dryer. So, until next time, may you all have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye.